Salam.
Okay, I'm here to talk about emergency preparedness and what to do when the power and the heat goes out. And I was prepared to do the presentation after everybody is finished, but what I'm going to talk about is what happens, because it happens to me all the time. It happens to me all the time. Actually, it happened to me when Sister Mariam was here at my house. We were sitting there at the house one day, and the power and the heat went out. Because it happens to me all the time, I was used to it. She wasn't. I just got some blankets and just kept on talking. She wanted to go home. So, yeah. According to the Bible, Noah didn't wait until it started to rain to build the ark, and that's what we shouldn't do. We shouldn't wait until it rains to build our ark. We shouldn't wait to prepare. We shouldn't wait. We should just prepare now. I'm sorry, I'm very nervous. There are many emergency lists on the internet. Those can be our starting points. But we know our family's needs better than anybody else. So we can use those as our starting points, and then we can add to those. We know our family's medical needs. We know our family's other personal needs as well. So go ahead and use those lists, but also complement those lists with everything else that you find that you need. Now, I complement those lists with things that I might need, which are, the satin hair and the satin pillowcases, because those things are things that I might need. So, like I was saying, and I may not have said it, where I live, when the power goes out, the heat goes out. So, when the power goes out, the heat goes out. So, and that just happened to me on Tuesday. Also, when that power goes out for me, it usually goes out a week at a time. So when my power goes out, I was also expected to go to work. So I would go to work with my power out, my heat out. Now, this is my entryway of my house. That light right there is run by a battery. So when my power goes out, I'm not ever totally in the dark. There's light somewhere. This light is not running up my electric bill. So when there's a big boom, because there's always a big boom before the power goes out, I know that I'm not going to be feeling around in the dark. And I always keep your emergency supplies somewhere, because I have a big bin. Well, it's not a big bin, it's like a footstool, that I keep all my emergency supplies. So, but that's my entryway. And also, I always use deep cycle batteries. You use deep cycle batteries because you can recharge these over and over and over again. I have 2 marine boat batteries that I've recharged 10 years. So this one is a new one, but also the marine boat batteries, they're huge. These batteries are, the newer batteries that I received are they're smaller. This is a 55 amp hour battery. The marine boat batteries that I have, they're 100 amp hours each. So, and I charge those on the solar panels, which you'll see in just a second. And this is that's a 20 amp hour, 12 volt. All my batteries are 12 volt batteries, but it's usually in the bin, but I just took a picture of it so you can see it, what it looks like. And that's a battery that I have near my bed, in case, the power goes out. And these are things that items that keep me warm in the winter when the electricity and the heat cuts off. Those are Mylar, that's Mylar, a sleeping blanket, the ugly socks, the hat, because you want to keep your head warm, and a jacket. That's, when the power goes out, there's no time to look cute. Also, stainless steel. I only cook with stainless steel. One reason is because when the power goes out, and it happens to me often where I live, I don't know if it's because I live in a county or it's because they just don't come out as often. Stainless steel is easier to cook with. When the power goes out, it's easier, and I'll show you why in a second. It's just easier to cook with. Stainless steel and Corningware. And I have plenty of firewood because I have a fireplace. And I stick to 2 rooms, the kitchen and the family room, when the power goes out and the heat goes out. And that's my fireplace. I heat myself. I've also used toilet paper and rubbing alcohol. You just burn this is my little heating. So you just take there's rocks in here. There's rocks in here. And you take the cheap toilet paper, don't get the good toilet paper, but take the cheap toilet paper and stuff it in here. These are the vegetable cans. And you douse it with a 70% or higher rubbing alcohol. Just douse it. Just keep on getting it wet, and then light it up. Because I kind of like fire. So light it up, and if you're trying to cook, you get this from your toaster oven, and put this on top of the stove. This is better to put it on top of the stove. And boom, there you are cooking. And it'll stay lit for maybe an hour. It'll stay lit for about an hour. And once you're finished, if you use 70% or more, you can cook all kinds of things. If you use 70% or more, you can douse it again. If you use under 70%, you can't use it again. You're going to have to take the toilet paper out and use it. You're going to have to start all over. But if you use 70% or more, then you can put more toilet paper in and more alcohol. Now, once you're finished cooking, you can you can light it up and you can heat yourself. This gets really, really hot, really super hot, and you won't need the jacket because you're going to warm the room. Now, what I do is, because I stay in 2 rooms, before I was using my fireplace, because I stay in 2 rooms, I have a blanket that kind of partitions the 2 rooms, and it just warms that room up. Actually the 2 rooms up. But I've got the rocks from outside, so it's really easy. Also, this warms up the room too. This is just this is a vegetable can, and inside is cardboard with some spent candle wax. You know the candle wax. You know how ladies, we like to burn candles. And at the bottom of the candles, little candle jars, there's all that extra candle wax. We'll just kind of melt that and pour it in this, and you can burn it, and there you go. You're warming up your room. So, and you can also use that to, heat up something and cook. So, now this is what I really like the best. My solar boxes. These are my solar boxes that charge my batteries. These charge all my batteries. I had these built for me. Brother Daniel built these boxes. They're each solar panel is 15 watts, so they're 45 each. One goes into my family room, and the other one goes into my dining room. So I have a battery charging all the time. I had them built once after I moved into the house. I had them built because the person that was the grass was going onto the solar panels, and they weren't charging my batteries right. But I needed them. I need the solar panels because the power goes out all the time. But they were really cheap. I got them at Harbor Freight. I bought them one at a time, so they're really cheap. But they work wonderfully, and that's what they look like in the summer. But I changed the position because of the season. You know how the earth tilts 4 times a year? I changed them 4 times a year, and Brother Daniel, he fixed it so that I can adjust them 4 times a year. And they're on wheels, and if you see, they have the hose here. So when it rains or snows, they don't, gather the rain or the snow. And if you look, here is my batteries. Those are the 2 batteries I started with. And he even drilled a hole through the wall. So when you look in my wall, in my dining room, and in my living room, it looks like there is cable wire, but really it isn't. You have to go outside. And you have to make sure, these are 2 different types of charge controllers. So you want to make sure that you don't overcharge the batteries. So I have 2 different types of charge controllers, and I brought one with me. And I also, just so you see the light that, it's really simple. What I do, this is the light that I keep in my hallway, and it stays on all the time. It's not, it's not super bright, but if the power goes out, I know that it's there and it's securing me. So, and this is an inverter. Now, you need the inverter because it converts the direct current to alternating current, the DC to AC. So you need that. I have several different types of inverters. Here's a different type of inverter. I have like 3 of them. So this is a different type of inverter. And you probably use an inverter all the time. You probably don't even know it, like in your car. Now, when your power is out, especially for a week, and you're going to work or you're doing your everyday things, you still have to wash clothes. And if you're stuck in the house, especially during a snowstorm, you have to find alternate ways of washing clothes. And that's my washing machine. That's my washing machine during the power outage. I just had a power outage on Tuesday. I didn't have to wash clothes because all my clothes were washed. But I did have to cook, and I'm not trying to have peanut butter and jelly or cheese and crackers during a power outage. Also, because I'm a woman, I'm kind of picky, so I'm not trying to be in the dark with some candles. So I had fish for dinner. And you probably want to know how I had fish for dinner. I wasn't, also, like I said, I wasn't in the dark. That's my living room. And I had to repurpose my light. So I moved the light from the entryway. I moved this light because I had several of them. This light came from my entryway because I needed to see. And I moved another light. If you see, that's my toaster oven. I was cooking. I moved another light to the kitchen so I can see and cook. And I showed you that's a way to cook. I didn't cook that way this time. That's one way I cooked one time. I cooked with candles, tea candles. Again, that's what I had for dinner. I had fish, fettuccine Alfredo, and green beans, and it took me 45 minutes to cook. That's how I cooked my dinner. I took my tea lights and I lined the bottom of my toaster oven with 16 tea lights. And then you can't close the door all the way. You just take a tiny bit of foil and you kind of push it where the door is, just a tiny bit, so it doesn't close all the way. And you'll have to use oven mitts. You'll have to use oven mitts because if you don't use oven mitts, you're going to burn. You're going to burn your hands because that toaster oven gets really hot. Guess how long it took for my food, all 3 items to cook? 45 minutes. Yes, and it was good. Brother Steve came over and checked on me. The house was smelling really good. I was so full. I only ate 1 piece of fish. I only ate 1 piece of fish. He ate the other one. If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. I'm not trying to eat little crackers, and I have to eat food. So if y'all come to my house and the power's out, don't worry, I'll feed you. Thank you. This concludes my presentation. Does anybody have any questions?
Where did you get that vent from?
This?
Hardware store?
The hardware store. It's the HVAC. You just get it from the hardware store.
So with the lights, do you use the battery and then switch and the AC converter, or like, how is that connected? Like,
You just
schematically?
Are you talking about the lights I used up on the?
Like, is it a switch? Like, is it a switch that has the positive and negative, and you put the wires to the battery?
You can come and see it. This is what came with this. So you can hold this, and this came with it.
Okay, this is a switch, and this plugs in. This the okay. Okay, I see how it's connected.
And I have.
Where's the this the converter?
This
right
is
here?
this is the inverter.
Okay.
This is the inverter. You get this separate.
Okay. Now, how much is all this about? Like 150?
This just depends.
Okay.
So the rocks is just to keep it stabilized, and then the one in the middle has tissue.
I'm sorry.
Is that what's going on with the rocks?
Hold on. Let me see what you're looking at. Okay.
Like.
This.
Yeah.
Oh, the rocks stop it from moving.
Okay.
And I just bent this up.
Oh, you bent it so it could fit over.
So it wouldn't move. Cause this gets super, super hot.
Yeah.
We're gonna reserve. And what we want to do, we want to get through all the other presentations, so we'll just reserve our questions until we can get through more of the presentations. So now we have Brother Gregory, and I'll walk down here. And then someone can turn the lights back on. I'm not sure how that works. We have Brother Gregory. Okay. And as we can see, Brother Gregory has everything, and we're going to find out when the lights go out where he lives.
We are here today because we had a warning given to us. My warning came early on, like the late 70s. I first started hearing Dick Gregory. He was talking about America and the problems that's going to occur, like that's happening right now. And then the Elijah Muhammad said that the 4 great judgments that Allah would afflict on a wicked nation like this one would be rain, hail, snow, and earthquakes. And as the calamities increase, we're going to start seeing more and more tragedies going on here in America. It's so much that we can say, but we only got so much time to do it. And in this book, The Fall of America, the messenger lays it out. Minister Farrakhan goes around the neck country. You can catch him on YouTube, on your apps on your phone, Justice or Else. And he's warning America and he's warning us we need to get it together because the calamities are increasing. I personally was in a hurricane Ivan when it came up through Alabama. I was in Alabama at the time, and it came directly up the middle of Alabama. I was living in Montgomery at the time, and the hurricane wind was still at 80 miles an hour when it got to Montgomery. And we were under the house. We didn't have a basement, but there was a safe place under our house. And over the years, I have just had things that I thought I needed. I know I'm gonna need to eat, and if you're not familiar with Dayton, you know, we're in a food desert. And I don't know if you've been to Kroger's, and there was something you know you wanted, and you get there and they don't have it, you gotta go to another Kroger's or another store across town. That ought to tell you something. That'll tell you that if everybody had to go to the store at the same time, some of us are gonna come up short, and some of the fights are gonna start in the store, and it's just gonna get really ugly. Okay? And what I have spread out over the table is pretty much a visual aid of some of the things that you might want to have in your home, and some of the things you might want to think about doing. So, Sister Leah said, what was that? If you fail to prepare, you prepare to fail. Well, one of the slogans I've adopted was, proper planning prevents panic. So with that said, we'll start this end of the table, and we're going to try to get to the end before too long. One thing we're going to have to learn how to do is can our own foods. That way you know what you're getting, but it's in an emergency and all you have is Del Monte canned foods and all the food, the name brand foods that you get in the store, so be it. You know, it's nothing, it's not like they're spoiled. Hopefully if they haven't been on the shelf too long, they're not spoiled. You know, but get what you can get, but if you can prepare your own foods, prepare your own food. Okay? We have been instructed to eat a lot of Navy beans, dry goods, have them in your home, you know, because if the power goes off and you can't cook, if you got all electric appliances in your home, and you're going to have to figure out a way to cook your own food. But if you got dry goods like cereals, you know, some people have dry meat, you know, you can buy those, what is it called, jerky thing. Yeah, you can, you know, but you're going to have to think ahead, try to think ahead. Canning is a great thing to do. If you're stuck in your home for a long time, and we was taught that there may come a time when you're in your home up to 6 months. Now, sometimes we don't get along with each other, so we're going to have to atone with each other and try to learn to get along and check on your neighbors, check on the elders, make sure the children have something to do. So we got games you can play, you know, a lot of little things that you can do in case you're stuck in your home for a long time. Arts and crafts, you know, get some crayons, and give them something to do, because children will get on your nerves, and you know that. If they're in the house for too long, everybody start getting crazy, and that's not good, because we'll start turning in on each other, and we don't want to do that. Because we say we love each other. When stuff hits the fan, it's like, I'm tired of looking at you. You know, so yeah, so games. Also, and like Brother Steve said, if you have little drills that you do where you tell your child to meet you at, if they go to Meadowdale, meet you at the water tower. You know, if something happened where they can't get home, no buses is picking them up, and everybody, and it's just getting crazy out there, meet them at the water tower. Just have a designated point, or something to think about. And if you're locked down in your home, you got to learn to be quiet. How quiet can we be? If somebody banging on our door, that's a threat. Can we be quiet? No one can hear it. So you want the children to be quiet. You hope the baby is quiet, but it's going to be a challenge. We got to try it. Okay. Let's see. Storing water. If you buy apple juice or you buy soft drinks or whatever, take them and fill them up with water and put them in a safe place. Because you never know when you're going to need water. Your hot water tank in your home either has 30 gallons, 50 gallons of water right there. So if something takes place and you know you're going to need that water, make sure you go to the shut-off valve where your meter is, turn it off. Because there's a way that, and I'm not sure what it's called, but there's a way that the water can be reversed and sucked out of your home if you don't stop it. It can actually be sucked back out. So turn your water off in your home. You got water in your toilet tank, and you got water in your hot water tank. So you want to try to save those gallons of water because you might need them. And save your containers and fill your water. This right here is a water purifier. You can just pour. If you go to the creek, you go down the little creek and you need some water because you don't have it, well, get you some water out the creek, try to filter it into the container, set the container out in the sun on some foil, and the sun will purify it. It might still be a little dirty, but you'll still be able to, the bacteria won't kill you. Okay? so do it that way. I don't know if you've ever seen the Book of Eli with Denzel Washington. Yeah. Something to think about. Impact. That was kind of a weird movie because it talked about the moon. A meteor hit the moon, and it caused the magnetic field to increase, and it just threw out all the electronics on the planet. The Day After Tomorrow. You know, it got so cold in some parts of the country. Well, they told them if they knew this cold tornado or hurricane was coming down from the north, but they said in the movie they said evacuate the southern states because the ones in the northern states won't be able to make it south. It just came in too fast. Froze everybody on the impact. This is a documentary that Minister Farrakhan put together, unmasking the New Orleans hurricane. And some of us know what happened down there and how black people were just left out of the loop. We were just at such a disadvantage that it was just a terrible situation all the way around. So, and I was in Alabama when Hurricane Ivan came through. Then Hurricane Katrina hit after that. And then I think that one you mentioned that came, the remnants of it came up through Dallas, Texas, and Dallas, and came around here and had some strong winds in Dayton. But this is a good documentary that Minister Farrakhan put together. It was able to talk about the people, interviewed the people, a lot of the people that still live there, what they thought. Talked about those who tried to go across the bridge to leave the leave New Orleans and they was held at gunpoint to keep from coming across the bridge because they didn't want their kind in that neighborhood. That's real. If we don't do something for ourselves and come to grips with each other and in a loving and respectful and understanding manner, because we've been through a lot. And for us to be at the point where we are now, it just doesn't make any sense. You know, I grew up with if my parents told the other neighbor to whoop me if it was necessary. You know, so and the teachers, we got paddled at school. You know, if my parents didn't come up there and say you shouldn't have paddled my child. Well, they asked. I got it again when I got home. Not that there's not such thing as abuse, but it takes a village.
That's right.
I was on this website, this Patriot website, and what's the guy's name who interviewed Minister Farrakhan? They had that
Alex Jones.
Alex Jones show. Well, you know, they believe in I don't know if you ever seen Doomsday Preppers and those type of programs. Well, it's these kind of people that live up in the mountains. Well, this book is telling you how to make a solar panel. It's telling you how to make a windmill out of things that you have at home. You have to purchase for the windmill, you have to purchase the motors. But it's something simple that you can do to have you some energy, so you won't be without. This bag is my first aid kit that I keep in my van. I'm a daycare provider too, so you gotta have these type of things in your vehicle. But you got your emergency kit. It's got flares in it. It's got I can't remember what all it is. You got to prepare your vehicle. You never know where you're going to be. You got jump cables, gloves. It's got flares in here. You never know. You never know. You don't want to be somewhere and you don't have some way to help yourself. I never leave home without a road out, because you just never know. My wife and I, we were coming back from Boston. I used to live in Boston and everything. And we were coming through Pennsylvania. Well, I was tired of driving, so I asked my wife when she drive, okay? So I go to sleep, and she says she's asking me, do I take this way or do I take that way? Well, suffice it to say, we ended up way up in the top of the mountains of Pennsylvania somewhere. And when I was asking for help, they didn't give me any good information to get back to the main highway. So the thing to do is to have your map, and you can find your way out.